pronounced chalupa. And like, it was bizarre. It's chalupa. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. And
I'm not going there. I'm not going to places like that. You see stuff like that there, I'm definitely never going there, ever.
Chalupa. Okay, I got it.
I mean,
chalupa. Well,
you think that would be easy, but not all people can, do the pronunciation like you just did. Can you do that one more time? I'd just love to see you.
Listen, it was the weirdest thing. It was just like the hand was like, and it was like chalupa. I don't even understand. Hey, we have a special guest. Bridget, we have a special guest with us tonight.
Oh, hi.
Hi, guys.
Hey, look at that. There he is.
I wish I could say I wasn't just standing here. I wish I could say I was in some sort of, I was off saving the world, but I was actually just standing here and I could not get the link to work, but we did finally, as we always do. So good to see you guys.
Overcoming
Happy Wednesday.
All right. I do not remember how last week, how I got it set up so that we could see the chat on the side.
It was so
not that. Not that. Let's go back to this. And does anybody remember how I have the chat set up on the side? Because I loved that last week.
We're just three adults like pushing buttons is really what we are. Like
not on the show tonight.
Pushing these things. I see people commenting already, which means that says to me that that we are live at least somewhere. Well, here we are. It's Wednesday night, and Wednesday night's my favorite night because we get together and we get to talk about crazy stuff.
Yes.
Interesting stuff. We have no idea where the conversation's going to go sometimes.
No.
Hold on. Let me just see if I gotta try to figure out where this. Hold on. Overlay chat. That's going to do it.
There we
There we go. Oh, whoa. There it is. So now, listen, friends, if you're with us, if you're here, when you chat, it's just going to show up in the side. So, contribute to the conversation, heckle me. You can critique my slick new haircut. I did do you know this? Do you know I cut my own hair? I do to save. I do. I cut my own hair to save time because in the time it would take me to get in my car and drive somewhere, I could just cut my own hair.
I get it. I do my own nails because of that. Diane, what?
What am I going? Am I going to drive somewhere to get that done? No.
No, it's a waste of time. You could be helping people become more visible on social media and getting to 5-figure incomes in a month. That's what you.
Yeah, 5-figure per month.
Per month. Very.
Listen, it's not heavy lifting to get someone to a 5-figure income in a month, but it's to get them multiple 5 per month. That's what we're going for.
That's the goal.
That's what we're going for. June thinks my haircut's funny. Listen, here's what happened today. I chose the wrong setting on my scissors. And I went a little too tight, a little too weird here. So like when you look at me from the front, it looks like I have a hair hat. It's a hair hat.
Like it. I personally like it. I think it's very cool. But then again, I can't tell if I have Chris Prouty colored goggles on. I think, but
Chris Prouty colored goggles. That is the last pair of glasses anybody should have.
I like that you couldn't decide which color shirt to wear and you went with black and white. I really like that about you.
Yeah, he's wearing black and white. You're wearing black, and I'm wearing white.
It's really maroon, but you can't see it because I'm in a very dark cave-like room.
In the somebody says I'm wearing a hair beanie. June says she would love my haircut. Well, June, you go right ahead. You just got to order a pair of clippers from Amazon. It takes like 12 tries before you get it right. Yeah, Larry says I cut my hair to look like Patrick Mahomes, which maybe. I can throw a football like Patrick Mahomes. I probably can. I can throw it just like him while I'm flying, falling down. Throw that thing. If you could see, my outfit is I'm Oreoing today. If you could see my outfit, Yeah, I'm Oreoing. If you could see this, I have black trousers on. Oh, I'll show you. Look at this. I'm like an Oreo. I got the.
Yeah.
Wow, you are a human Oreo right now.
That's like I'm Oreoing. That's what I call it. That's what we call it. Oh shoot! Now we get serious. Bear Air is in the house.
Brian Bear.
Hey, wouldn't that be a great promo for him to use, like on his on his voicemail, just saying it just like that. That's like you said it, like you went to high school with him. You haven't seen him in 20 years. You walk into like a Starbucks and he's there ordering. I have Brian Bear. I know this guy. He drinks like a mocha chai latte or something. And you walk up and you're like,
Brian Bear.
That's exactly what that
We're practically friends, Brian. We're practically friends. Just DM me and be like, oh, hey, Bridget, we'll see each other for Starbucks later.
Hey, guys, you know what I wanted to talk about tonight, now that the formalities are over?
Yeah, the formalities, I don't think we hit those ever, but go on.
That felt kind of formal. And now that Larry has shared the performance, now we have to kind of be on task. We have to really do the work.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks a lot, Larry. Pistachio latte is June.
Yes, that's a thing. I have tried that.
Pistachio latte.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to talk about that later.
Yes.
I hope we get to 100 comments tonight, by the way. So yeah, let's get those comments going. But you know what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about how entrepreneurs and a lot of people who watch our performance, entrepreneurs are actually screwing themselves because they are too afraid to make moves.
Yes.
And you know what? I'm just going to go out and I'm just going to say it. If you want to be poor, then you simply need to embrace your fear, and you need to just let your fear pull the strings on you like this, like a puppet, and you need to be afraid to make the moves, to take the risks. You have to be afraid of maybe losing money one month because you took a risk. And if you want to be poor, then what you need to do is you need to say, I'm too afraid. I'm too afraid to make a move.
That's so true.
Paralyzed. Fear is a paralyzer.
You know what? You know what I noticed? A lot of people will hide behind fear, but they'll call it something different. They'll call it, I need to get prepared before I launch my business. So I have to get the right website. I have to get the business cards. Yep. I have to do everything right. I have to be prepared before I actually go out and add value based on my product, message, or my service. So like, guys, I'm just getting prepared. And then you say, well, how long have you been getting prepared for? Don't you have all that done? It's okay. I'm just not ready yet.
Yeah.
That is a clear sign that you have partnered with fear.
Partnering with fear is a great way of putting it. And you're so right. And Stephen, I know you agree with this, that when you start to throw these things up like, oh, well, I'd love to try to get more clients right now, or I'd love to get my mindset right. But I'm trying to, I've got my web designer who's redesigning my website. I'm always like, how much business do you get from your website right now? Well, none. Well, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're doing the wrong things. You're terrified, is what it is. You're terrified. Stephen, I know you have something to say.
Let me tell you guys about what. Yeah, I love a good. Let me tell you guys. Let me tell you guys about what are some of the things that I've seen people be most afraid of in the marketing world. And phone calls, direct messages, talking to someone in person. And so my theory is that people do all these things. There's a commonality between those things, the business cards, the website. There's a commonality between some of those things and it's the fact that there are all these like items. There are all these items that allow you to avoid actually talking to people, putting yourself out there, going live on Facebook, and why are we afraid of these things? Because they're a point of vulnerability. They're a point of vulnerability, and I'm gonna start bringing more quotes into our show. I looked up some quotes, guys. Whoa! But I love this one, and it's avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. The fearful are often caught as often as the bold, and that's from Helen Keller. And you got to think and I think comparing being afraid to being bold. And I think you'll begin to start to awaken some of that courage in yourself. But we're going to talk a lot more about how we conquer some of these fears. What do you guys think?
Guys, I love Helen Keller.
She is like an inspiration of yours, isn't she?
Yes.
I used to do emails, and I'd put quotes in the emails.
the marketing that I did, and Helen Keller was one of my all-time most quotable people because she is so powerful in her words.
She had to overcome so many obstacles. It was ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Do you know, as an aside, do you know that there's a whole group of people who this is true, by the way. You can Google this because Google's always right. But there's a whole group of people right now who have this movement where they don't believe Helen Keller really existed.
No.
I can guarantee it.
Don't do this right now. Pay attention to what we have going on here. But later on, you hop on Google and say and just type like Helen Keller didn't exist or something like that. There's a group of people. I don't want to call these people millennials. They call themselves that, but there's a whole group of them who are starting this movement saying that she doesn't exist or
Guys,
she never existed.
There's also another movement of people who they have Helen Keller jokes. I mean, I'm not going to ever say those, but I mean, there is. I've seen them posted places, and it's just.
So so Carolyn Sermont, listen to me. I want you to Google the world is flat, the Flat World Society.
Yes.
Later on, here's the second thing to go Google is the Flat World Society. There is a whole group of people who are they're under the impression that the world is flat, and the theory that they presented suggesting that the world is flat, the theory is, well, when I stand and look at the ocean, it looks flat. That's like one of their big theories. But so Carolyn threw that out there, but there is a whole group of people that also believe the world is flat.
But here's what that reminded me of, Chris. What can also break you free from fear, but what keeps you locked in and held down by it is your belief that your limiting beliefs that are holding you down and tying you into this partnership with fear. You have a limiting belief that you cannot make it. You have a limiting belief that you will never be successful unless you have this, and this done or right or perfect. Yep. So limiting beliefs partner with fear. And I say, and you know what, Chris Rivera, shout out to him. He sent me this awesome book, and I don't even remember what it's called, but I posted it on Facebook. But it's something like God is your money or something, or
money is the power of God or something like that.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so there was one line in that book that was incredibly powerful, and he was talking about how people oftentimes function under the law of abundance with an unconscious low deservability. People often function thinking, the law of abundance. The universe wants to give everything to me and make everything happen for me. However, it's not me that it wants to give it to. So the low deservability, partnering with that limiting belief that you can't or you don't deserve value being added to you based on your product, your message, or your service that you provide to people. So you have to bridge that gap between the law of abundance and that belief system, your subconscious terrain. I feel like I've been talking to Kyle Parkin a lot and Chris Rivera because that's some deep stuff right there.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. And you did say the word, chasing perfection in there. And I think that's another one of those things that people hide their fear behind trying to be perfect. Mm-hmm. I can't put this post out. I can't put a selfie of me.
What will people think about this? No one's going to care about this. What will people think about this?
Yeah.
You already answered all the questions yourself. You're why don't you act like a scientist and just test it? Risk a little bit.
I think people forget. I want to see Steven in a scientist costume, like whatever
it'll happen eventually. I guarantee it.
Work. Whatever the costume is that a scientist wears to work.
Goggles.
Hey, Eric said money is God in action. That's what the book's called. It's a little pamphlet, and it also talks about. Can I just share another thing about this? It also talks about how executives and people who make those 6-7 figure incomes, they don't make that because they deserve it. They make it because they are convinced that they are worth it.
Are you talking 6 or 7 figures per month?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on. If they use your program, yes, that is.
Use my program, yeah. The chat's on fire. I love the conversation that's going on. Everybody seems to be resonating with this. I'm going to yell. I'm just going to yell at everybody for just a minute because I think where people. So there's all this fear about, am I going to do the right thing, or am I going to say the right thing? But I think there's a bigger fear that people don't realize. And I think it's the fear of having to take one step backwards to take two steps forward. So here are examples of that. You're an entrepreneur, you're doing 6,000 a month, then 7,000 a month, and then 8,000 a month, and 9, and suddenly you start to see that magic 10,000 a month come into view, but you're tapped out. You're exhausted. You're not feeling fulfilled anymore in your business. You feel unbalanced in every single way, right? Because you're trying to do everything, because that's what you have to do, is you have to do everything at first. When you're growing, you see that $10,000 month coming because you've been working and putting your time in, but you're tapped. Just don't have the time. And what you need to do in that moment is you need to hit the pause button, and you need to step back, and you need to say, what is it that is taking all of my time, and what things can I strip away that are not contributing to profitability? But you can't do that when you're trying to deliver at the pace that you're delivering to get to that $10,000 a month. So now you're terrified, because you're terrified that you're going to have to go back to a $6,000 a month, so that you can spend the month implementing the systems that you need to be able to get to 10, 15, 20,000 a month. Because you're terrified of taking that step backwards, because you feel, I know you feel like if you're at 8 or 9,000 a month and 10,000's in sight, to go back to 6 means you'll never get back to 8 or 9. But you're wrong, and you're wrong on every single level, because you're just afraid of doing the work again. But I will tell you this, and then I'm going to let you guys go. But talking. Am I yelling, Stephen? Am I yelling?
You're at a perfectly good volume, in my opinion.
If you don't take that step back, if you don't stare that fear in the eye like an apex predator, and you don't conquer that fear and take that step back and say, I'm okay going back to $6,000 or $8,000 a month, so that I can break through that 10,000, because I can implement the things I need that allow me to do that, you are going to be poor. You are simply going to level out, because you won't be able to do any more, and you will end up you'll burn out. You're going to go back to 6,000 a month anyways, because you can't sustain the pace. Ultimately, if it is your intent to be poor, then, like I said at the beginning, let that fear be the puppet master. But if you want to be rich, if you want to serve an abundance of people, you have to just take that fear and say, this is how my life is right now, and I've got to do this. Take it, Bridget, just save me here.
Save you from yourself? I don't know if that's possible. But seriously, that was brilliant, because you can't be afraid to look at what is true, what is working, and what is not working. You can only be afraid. Well, actually, you know what? Scratch that completely, the idea. If you're partnering with fear, the common perception is that you're gaining nothing. That is 100% not true. You are gaining so many things. You're gaining to lose clients. You're losing clients if you partner with fear. You're also, gaining lack of perspective. You are also losing perspective in terms of opportunities. You're not focused on opportunities. If you are partnered with fear, there is definitely a list of things that you have gained by partnering with fear. And oftentimes when I'm coaching people, I say, okay, how have you partnered with this man or this woman called fear today? Because it is a real relationship, right, guys? You literally, if you consult fear on what you're doing in your business today, if you consult fear in your relationships today, if you let fear hold you back, let me tell you, you are spending your time, your efforts, your money on your partnership with fear. And if you have let fear hold you back, well, you just gave him a raise. You gave him an increase. And what that means is you are going to be lacking. So you have to partner with men or women called opportunity, success, empowerment, and you have to write that out. I make the people that I partner with write that out. Procrastination partners with fear as well. And so does perfection. So you want to unpartner with fear. You want to fire fear in your life. But first, you must get clear and write out what you have gained by partnering with fear so that it becomes clear to you what this relationship has brought you, because it's definitely not moving you in the right direction towards being successful with your business.
It was pretty insightful from Edwin Dearborn to chime in with that perfection is the blood brother to procrastination. Somebody else say it, but that was a great comment. that was a great comment.
Powerful. Write a blog. All right, I will. And Jude just chimes in, write a blog on this, because the other thing about perfection, it does hold you back. Perfection partners with fear. And really think about the article or the post that you've seen that you enjoyed reading the most, or the video that you enjoyed watching the most. When I go in to record a video, sometimes I allow my mess ups to be in there. If I say a word wrong, incorrectly, or whatever it is, because people enjoy seeing your humanity. People enjoy seeing your humanity. Yeah. If you get to this place where you look too perfect, you lose your relatability. And relatability is necessary for your connectivity in your business. Go, Chris.
That's a great point. And I missed an opportunity today because I was recording a training video today, a free training that I was going to put up on YouTube, or not on YouTube, but on all my socials. And I was like 5 minutes into this thing, totally in the flow, and my dog went berserk. And it was an opportunity for me to just kind of laugh and say, my house alarm is going off, because that's what I call my dog, is my house alarm. But instead, I was like, and I stopped the video, recorded it later. But I missed out on the opportunity to let the human side creep in.
It's important. I think Tracy Martin did a really hilarious video on LinkedIn once, and she helps people lose weight rapidly. She has a great program, but she recorded a video and she allowed her screaming child to pretty much interrupt her video. And it was hilarious, Awesome. And I know you've heard me talk about it. Add humor and humanity into there, and it breaks you free from fear. Yeah. It gets you into that confidence mode because people respond and they post about it. They say that was awesome.
June wants us to do a short workshop on this. June, that's what we're doing right now, baby. This is a short workshop on this.
Wednesday workshop.
June?
Wednesday workshop. Hey, June, we can talk later.
Steven, you're the master of implementing the human touch into marketing. More than anything, I've always called you you're literally a digital hug. What's your take on that?
I think I would definitely say that the number one affliction, the number one problem that I might see with some companies is that when I go to their representation, their platforms where they're represented, whether it's their Facebook, whether it's their this or that, I'm left wondering who it is that is operating this business. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of people hide behind, like we said, their logos, their business cards. They're afraid. But some of these people that and so what I will do is I'll get to know the company and I'll get to know the people there, and they're incredible. Like, these people have the best personalities. People have, and it might be a real estate agent that is just, their personality is so cool. And so, and so when they begin to understand that when they start putting that out there a little bit, people fall in love with them and want to help them. I think they become a lot more courageous. And the only way you do that is exposing yourself to a little bit of those behaviors over time. I think that there's two places I go to study, and that's movies and mental health, and movies and the mind, the power of the mind. And so when you listen to some of these people who study the mind, they talk about behavioral therapy. They talk about, gaining the courage to whatever it is you're afraid of, and introduce yourself to a little bit of that. If it's maybe you're afraid of making a Facebook status, don't say you're going to make 10 a day. Say you're going to make 1 a week and see how that feels. But take note of the fact that it didn't kill you. It didn't, all of a sudden ruin your business or ruin your world. And I think you're going to get a little more courageous with your marketing.
Yeah, I think that's pretty brilliant. You're so right, Steven, is you can't be afraid to take those kind of actions. Bridget, what were you going to say?
I have no idea. I was completely just
You were mesmerized.
I was captivated by Steve and Stefan's comments.
I
started thinking about mental health, and then I was thinking about how I could add value to the mental health world. I literally went on a mind tangent for a second.
I really thought that he said he goes to study at the movies, and right? That's what it sounded. I thought I heard him say, "I go to study at the movies
and expose myself." That's what I heard. I'm like,
I go to study at the movies, and I go to study at mental health.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
The word expose, movies, and mental health. That's what I heard. Am I the only one who heard that?
The moment those three words come into a sentence, and then Stefan's name is involved, then we are all in trouble.
I meant to say psychiatry. I think I meant to say psychiatry.
Where's Steven this week? Well, I can't really tell you, but it has to do with exposing himself, the movies, and a little bit more. I can't really tell you much more than that, but those are the three things that I know.
Oh, God.
It's a teaser for our next few videos.
Yeah, it's going to be our next. Chris is going to write that as the headline: mental health, exposure, and movies. What do these three things have in common for your business?
No, my headline will look exactly like this. My headline will look like this: Steven plus movies plus exposing plus mental health equals ? And then I'll write some kind of an article about that just talks about the free workshop that I have right now. It's actually did I tell you about this? I have a free social media boot camp. It's 6 lessons. All they have to do is message me and I'll get them into this thing. It is packed with value, but I'm not here to sell.
Listen, plugs are allowed. Plugs are allowed.
A lot of people, let's talk about exposure a little bit, but let's talk about it in terms of, let's get people's minds into the G-rated mode and turn that into visibility. One thing that you really have to do in order to grow your business is to be visible to your potential client base.
Yeah, that would help. That helps.
If in the COVID days, if you're not in the Zoom world right now, you better make it happen. Develop a good 30-second pitch, start connecting and adding value to people, and start getting real and letting yourself, talk about your life, talk about what you're experiencing right now, and connect well with people, because visibility is huge. I hear people say all the time, "Oh, I don't want to be a part of the Zoom world." I go, "Really? So how are you meeting people?"
Yeah.
I don't know. So you have to have that plan to be visible first and foremost. Zoom, Facebook Lives, just like this, figure out a way to get visible so you can meet your potential clients and break free from that fear.
On that note, I had to do a phone call this week. Actually, on the phone, I don't remember how to make phone calls anymore. Like I actually was talking to somebody on the phone, and I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to talk on the phone anymore.
I definitely don't know how to talk on the phone by holding it up like this. Like,
no,
this
I don't know.
So
I had my headsets in, and we were talking about something, and I'm like, "Oh, let me show you." I'm like, "How do I share my screen with you?" Like, I can't. I was literally like incapacitated because I'm on the phone as opposed to on a Zoom, and I've only probably made 3 phone calls in the past 12 months, and it was really weird for me. I feel like I've crossed into like a whole another stratosphere. As we approach the bottom of the hour, Steven, if people are afraid to move forward, what is the one piece of advice that you would give them to break free of that?
Introduce little things into your world that build up your courage. I'll give you an example. One thing that I do, like, you'll see me always listening to music. I'm such a big, music is a fuel in my life, but specifically, I love to listen to these, powerful music from movies, because as you're listening to this powerful music, it's very hard not to get inspired about your own life, and that's just one of the small little things that I'll do, but I do it throughout my day. I do it on a regular basis. And if I go for a run, I'm listening to very powerful music, and that's all getting in my head to make me feel like I'm going to do something very powerful. I'm going to do something very good today. And so little things like that, I think, shape how we see the world. And so if you can create those, it might be listening to movie scores, but you might have something completely different. So, make it up. That's
great. That's so insightful. I have to tell you, in my mind, I picture you listening to that 80s song, "Eye of the Tiger," while you're running. Yep. That's just me. Bridget, what can people do to eliminate the fear?
First of all, you've got to get in the right mindset. You have to see where you are partnering with fear in your life and your business, and you need to write it out. You need to expose that fear. Write it out, see what fear has gained you, and then write who you want to partner with. And every day, give yourself an action step. Write down something you're afraid of doing, and then break free from it and just make it happen. Launch yourself into action and tell yourself what you're going to gain by doing that.
That's incredible. I'm going to say this: when you find yourself kind of paralyzed by fear, when you find yourself in a position where you're afraid to do something, and in particular, when you're afraid to take that one step back so that you can take multiple steps forward, you have to stare that fear down, and you have to be the one that controls that fear. That fear is treating you like a marionette. You got to grab those strings, you got to tie them onto the fear, and you've got to pull the strings on the fear so that you can leverage it to power yourself forward. There is no other way to do it. And that's what you do to dissolve that fear, to beat that fear down, and to turn it into a powerful tool that you can use to grow yourself, ultimately grow your business, and ultimately open up your entire world. Stephen, thanks for being here again tonight on this Wednesday night. That's Stephen Carroll. My name's Chris Prodigy. Whatever my name is, you'll figure it out. Bridget, as always. Oh, I just got a message from somebody. I just got a text from somebody privately. They told me they just leveled up to level 82. They wanted to let you know that. So that's
Yes. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us tonight. Remember, it's always time to level up, but it's time to fire fear.